What up? What up? Big Lion Cat 646. I just want to do my quick intro video for Bigeez Comics 1500 sub contest. So he wanted us to do a video showing besides comics what we collect. It could be something comic related or anything else. So I broke out my Franklin Mint World War II planes. I get a lot of questions saying what they are. Everybody wants to take a look, so I figured I'd do this nice video. As you can see, I got some planes out. These planes had never been even taken out this far out of the box, so I did this for Bigeez Comics. So we're gonna start off with the first one right here. This is called a Warhawk. As you can see, if you've probably seen in the movies, it has that tiger face in the front in the movies. So the Warhawks were made by Curtiss-Wright Corporation. They first flight they ever did with it was in 1938, and by 1958 they retired this plane. They made about 13,738 of them. Next one here. This is a Dauntless. SBD. SBD stands for slow but deadly. As you can see, this has the machine gunner in the back and the tail, because the reason why these were used for like torpedoes and dive bombers. So the back machine guns were placed there to shoot off the fighters who would try to shoot them down, because they were kind of slow, because, you know, they had to be accurate. So the Dauntless were made by Douglas Aircraft. First plane was about 1940. They introduced it in the same year, 1940. They retired this plane in 1959. And they made about 5,936 of these planes. Next one here. This is called Mosquito. It was made by Devil Hamlin Aircraft Company. They were made, first flight was 1940. Introduced in 1941, retired in 1950. They made about 7,781 of these. So they were used, it was supposed to be like a fighter, but they also used it for like bombing. And most of the time these were used by the British. Then you got the P-38s. These are also twin. These were fighters. The P-38s were made by the Lockheed Corporation. The first flight was at 1939. Introduced in 1941. They were retired in 1949. It was first in 39 and retired in 49. They made about 10,037 of these. Just give you a close-up of these planes, how they look. Cockpit's back is actually right there. That goes right there on top. Dauntless. Alright. Now this one here, this was called a Hurricane. Basically, they were made in England. They were made by the Hawker Aircraft Company. First flight was 1935. Introduced in 1937. Retired in 1944. They made about 14,877 of these. Not in this color, but you know, they made different variations. This one here is also from England. This was made by the submarine company. This is a Spitfire. It was first made in 1936, introduced in 1938, retired in 1961. They made about 20,351 of these type planes. If you don't know what this one is, this is of course a Mustang. Of course, it was made in USA, North American Aviation Company. They were first made in 1940, introduced in 1942. retired in actually 1984. They made about 15,000 of these Mustangs. So they were around for a really, really long time, fighter-wise. So here's something. A Japanese Zero. This was actually made by Mitsubishi. All right. It was, first flight was 1939. Started, introduced in 1940. And they kept using it until 1945. They made about 10,939 of these Japanese Type Zeros. All right. So then over here, it's actually my display case where I have some other planes. The top shelf, they're pretty small. Those are called the Wildcats. The Wildcats, of course, were made in the USA by Grumman. First flight was 1937. Introduced 1940, retired in 1945. They made about 7,885 of those type of planes. All right. The bottom ones here, these planes right here. These types. Like that one right there. That's a Corsair. Also made in the USA. Made by Chance Vong. That was a company. First flight was 1940. Introduced in 1942. Retired in 1953. They made about 12,571 Corsairs. All right. And then the bottom here. Those right there at the bottom. Those were called the Hellcats. The Hellcats were also made in the USA by Grumman. His first flight was 1942. Introduced in 1943. Retired in 1960. They made about 12,275 of these type of planes. You can see that one there with the face. You know, a lot of them, this one had like a checkerboard. I believe this one here was in the television show Black Sheep Squadron. I think flown by himself, Pappy Boyington. I think that's like a remake of his plane. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Show you this quick video of these planes once again. These planes have never been this far out of the box. So I just did it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy. These are Franklin Mints. They don't make these anymore. They do made helicopters at one point, and they were other fighters, German ones, which I don't have because they actually made a lot of them. They also made like battleships and bombers, but they stopped making these. So, and that's my video. So congrats on Bigeez Comics for 1,500 subs. I know he's definitely going to get there. So I just want to get my entry video in. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Guys, take care.